Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Brewers are the best team in baseball, and they're getting it done in every way imaginable. Also, we saw some interesting NFL preseason action over the weekend. We'll get you caught up on all of it. And Shedeur Sanders needs to be the Browns starter week 1. We've seen enough.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Milwaukee Brewers just completed a 3-series sweep of the NL East, finishing off the New York Mets after the Braves and the Nats. And we are beyond, are the Milwaukee Brewers for real. The Milwaukee Brewers are the best team in baseball and have been now for 2 months. Chuck Freeman from Locked On Brewers joins me now. And Chuck, now it's like, okay, how good of a regular season team can this be? That's the conversation we have to start having here.
Oh, yeah, because they're playing at an unbelievable clip. They've won like 22 of their last 25 games.
It's crazy.
Which, you know, the history of the Milwaukee Brewers, if the Yankees or Dodgers or, you know, pull off something like that, okay. But the Milwaukee Brewers, this is uncharted waters for them. I've said this, Peter, after today, this is the best that Brewers baseball has ever been. And I'm just telling you, it's never been at this level before. And I'm not talking postseason. I'm just talking about the way they're playing right now at this high a level. Brewers baseball in 55 years has never been on this level.
And they were down, 5-0 to the Mets on Sunday. And if you're a Brewers fan, you're just like, they're fine. Because this is what they've done all year. They win on a walk-off home run. They get a 2-run jack late in the game to get the game close. Like, this is just who they have been all year. And if you're a Cubs fan, if you're a Cardinals fan, if you're a Dodgers fan, you're going, how do they keep doing this? But at a certain point, this is just who they are. Yeah,
the Brewers don't lose. And I've heard Chicago sports radio, they say the team up north there, they don't lose. They literally don't lose. And, although when they got down 5-0 today, and, you know, people were complaining because they didn't have their best lineup out there. 3 starters were tonight.
Chuck, we've talked about this. The Sunday lineup. This is a thing for the Brewers.
Okay, the Sunday lineup, because everybody. But I put out a tweet before the game. I said, "Hey, just because they have the Sunday lineup, man, we got to throw that theory out that they're going to lose because this is a new day with Brewers baseball."
Yeah,
and he got down 5-0. And people were, well, you know, they're not going to come back with this lineup. And I said, yeah, well, you know, even the Brewers are due for a clunker once in a while, and then. Half hour later, I'm changing my tune. I guess we're right back into this ball game. Got the 5-3, 5-4. You know, I mean, you tied it up late, and then going to the bottom of the 9th inning. I can't tell you how many walk-off wins they've had, but they've had just so many this year. Yeah. And Isaac Collins, a guy who was basically the 26th man to make this roster, is literally one of the MVPs in this team.
It has been that kind of season for the Milwaukee Brewers, to be sure, and so. When you look at the offensive categories here, the Brewers are like, forget the splits and all that. Just like the big stats we care about. This has been the best offense in baseball for months now. And you look at it and you go, do they have, like, how many silver sluggers do they have up and down this lineup? It's not that kind of team. And I think this is almost like, this is the Moneyball team, right? Like that's sort of the team that they built here.
Well, what they do is they work pitch counts. Though a player will be a
Moneyball thing, Chuck.
Yeah, they'll work pitch counts 11, 12, 13. They'll wear out that starting pitcher, and they'll steal bases. They'll opposite field Texas leaguers. I mean, like today, little Texas leaguers that find a way. And other teams will, like last night, Mauricio for the Mets made a key error at third base, and the Brewers always, Peter, seem to take advantage of the team making a wild pitch, throwing the ball away, doing some walking guys. The Brewers, there's no team I've seen that takes advantage of an opponent's mistakes quite like the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's how they get it done. Yeah, there's no silver sluggers on this team and this current team, but there's just a bunch of guys who that literally have a master's degree of the strike zone, a master's degree of the strike zone. They know when it's going to be a ball and a strike. Rarely do you see a Brewer player get called out on 3 strikes. Usually they're fouling that pitch off and hanging in the count.
It reminds me a little bit of something like Bill Belichick always used to say, let the other team beat you, and they will. And that feels like this Brewers team. To you, Chuck, is that more about roster construction or more about the way this team is managed, coached, developed?
I think all that. Like the Mets, the pattern of all three.
It has to be, right?
All three of these games against the Mets, Peter, they got down early. All right. And I feel like maybe a little bit the Mets just kind of take the foot off the gas pedal like they did today. And the Brewers say, well, we're not done yet. But roster construction, there are no-name guys on this team. I would argue they probably have more guys on this team under the height of 5'8", and that's even pushing it on this team. Just a bunch of guys who play baseball with a high baseball IQ, meaning they don't make any mistakes. Once in a while, a guy will get picked off and do something like that, but rarely do the Brewers beat themselves. And that's a big part of sports. Like you said, sometimes they wait for the opponent to beat themselves, and the Brewers will just feast on a team like that.
You can stay up to date all year on the Milwaukee Brewers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Brewers on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today coming up. We recap the weekend that was in the NFL. Before we get to that, Justin Verlander still dealing. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% with their killer last-minute deals. Tired of endlessly scrolling, trying to find the best deals? Game Time's Zone Deals pick the best seats in your section for you. And with Game Time, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price, guaranteed. Elsewhere on the diamond, the Blue Jays scrape past the Dodgers.
They didn't get swept. The Blue Jays do come away with a third game, which is massive. You needed to at least get one here, and you did that. There were blunders. There were good things to take away. There was interesting games. It was fun baseball to watch, at least game 1 and 3 at least. It was fun baseball. Game 2 sucked, straight up. We're going to get into all of it today. Obviously, an off day as you guys listen to this today. So no game. We got a lot to get into over the next few days, especially in the home stretch here.
The Astros beat down the Yankees, who are still in free fall.
So what Jason Alexander is doing with his last 2 starts is he's putting a stamp in the rotation and say, hey, I know Christian Javier is coming back. I know that Lance McCullers at some point is coming back. I know Luis Garcia is coming back at some point. I know that JP France is coming back at some point. But with my changeup, with what I could do to lefties, what I could do to righties, what he can do, if he can do this to the Yankees right now, what can he do to the Yankees or a team with similar hitters in the playoffs? I'm not saying he's going to be your game 3 type guy, but if this is a game 4, game 5 type guy in the playoffs, I wouldn't mind it.
And the Reds are suddenly just a game and a half behind the Mets in the NL wildcard race after beating the Pirates.
Noelvi Marte should play every day. What do you say? We might go down by the bay. Just may. Okay, anyway, that was a bad attempt at that one. But yes, Noelvi Marte deserves everyday playing time, and he showed why on Sunday in a game where the Reds were just scoring runs at will, and for some reason giving them up at will until the final couple of innings there. It was all about the hitting, and Noelvi Marte came up with a lot of big hits in this one. Miguel Andujar in the cleanup spot looked really well, and Spencer Steer coming up with some more clutch hits as well. You love to see these guys playing the way that they are, but for me, the big takeaway from Sunday's game was all about Noelvi Marte. He absolutely deserves to be in the lineup every single time the Cincinnati Reds lace him up. The Pirates, they were pesky, but the Reds earned a split, and now they're 1.5 games out of the NL wild card. This is crazy. This is going to be a really fun ride to the end of the season.
The NFL saw some preseason action over the weekend. The good stuff. Most notably, Shedeur Sanders made his debut for the Browns.
As expected, Shador Sanders delivered in his preseason Browns debut, if you will, as I figured he would. Because here's the thing. It didn't matter what nationally was being said. It didn't matter that people were trying to spin this web that he was being set up for failure by the Browns because he hadn't taken reps with the first team. Anybody who's a true Shedeur Sanders fan knows that wasn't going to matter to him. It didn't matter what reps he took. It didn't matter if he was with the first team, second team, third team, fourth team. When he goes out, he's a gamer. I talked about this on the podcast this week. He is a gamer. And when he went out there on the field, when the lights are the brightest, when he's in between those lines, he just balls. And I think we saw a lot of that in this performance against the Panthers on Friday night. 14 of 23, the 2 touchdown passes, 138 yards, 106.8 passer rating, and 19 rushing yards to go along with it. There were some moments where you still saw some tendencies that I think the Browns are trying to get out of him. The turning his back to the defense as they're sort of bearing down on him, taking a sack in a moment where you could have just thrown the ball away in a key spot. Like, some of those things happen. Listen, rookie mistakes, they're going to happen. But by and large, the throws to Caden Davis in the end zone for touchdowns, the first one especially, the layered throw over the defender that was in front. Oh, beautiful stuff. And listen, I don't know if this means the Browns are now poised to change the pecking order of this quarterback depth chart. But what we did learn tonight is that Shedeur Sanders is absolutely capable of playing at this level and capable of, frankly, of getting more on his plate than what he's been given to this point. And so I hope that at least shifts in the Browns' minds, and he's worthy of first-team reps that he hasn't been given to this point. We'll see if he gets them next week, and we'll obviously talk about it coming up on another episode of the Locked On Browns podcast. It's going to be a late night for me, but you can find that episode probably tomorrow morning.
Well, on that, coming up, the Giants QB room picked apart the Bills.
For the first time in the Brian Daboll era, the New York Giants topped the 30-point mark in the preseason. New York besting the Buffalo Bills 34-25 in the team's preseason opener. The Giants, who, as was thought to be the case, played their healthy starters in this game, got scoring drives from all 4 of their quarterbacks, 3 of them being touchdown drives. Starter Russell Wilson, the only one of the quarterbacks not to lead a touchdown drive, did manage a solid opening drive, running 12 plays, and the drive resulting in the first of 3 Graham Gano field goals of the day that went for 50-plus yards. Rookie Jackson Dart made his NFL debut with a very solid showing, finishing 12 of 19 for 154 yards, a team best 8.1 yards per pass attempt, and 1 touchdown. Dart also added 24 rushing yards on 3 carries, the rushing yardage total being a team best this week. Want more to like about the game? The offensive lines were solid, allowing 0 sacks and just 10 pressures all game long. And the new and improved defense managed 18 total pressures against the Bills, while the run defense held Buffalo to just 58 yards on the ground on 15 carries. There's still work, though, that needs to be done. Of the Giants' 10 penalties in this game, 4 were of the pre-snap variety. The Giants, who haven't done full-fledged tackling this summer, also had 12 missed tackles, according to preliminary numbers from Pro Football Focus. But overall, there was a lot to like from the Giants' preseason opener as New York faces a critical season ahead.
And Cam Ward impressed during his opening drive, despite the Titans getting crushed by the Bucs.
The Tennessee Titans lose their preseason opener to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but who cares? Did you see Cam Ward? Look, I admit, rough first drive, 3 and out for the offense, but on that second drive, Cam Ward came out. He was decisive. He was precise. It was exactly what you wanted to see from Cam Ward. He was calm, cool, and collected, and fought through adversity as well. There was a 3rd and 9. There was a 3rd and 6. The Titans got backed up after a penalty and had a 1st and 20. What does Cam Ward do? Respond every single time. The connection to Calvin Ridley, he completes 3 passes for 50 50 yards to Calvin Ridley, an explosive pass for 26 yards, hits him on 2 out routes as well. Then you get the completion on 3rd and 9 that he drives home to Chigakonkwo, the quick drag route on 3rd and 6 to Tyler Lockett to get him towards the goal line and set up the touchdown. Look, was it perfect? No. You had the 3 and out, you had the near interception as well, but Cam looked poised. He looked in control. He didn't look, overwhelmed by the moment, and that's exactly what you wanted to see. No pre-snap penalties like I asked for. I thought Cam Ward was very, very solid on the night. Again, wasn't all perfect, but very good debut from the rookie quarterback. I'm going to be breaking it all down live on Locked On Titans on YouTube. Head there right now.
Stay up to date all year on the NFL by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On NFL on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, Shedeur Sanders has to start for Cleveland. Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders played well in his first preseason game. Locked On NFL host Tyler Rowland says it's been clear all along, but Sanders has to be the Week 1 starter for Cleveland.
He was good in the game. I mean, he put it up the numbers. He led them on scoring drives. It didn't start great for him. There were a couple of missed throws early, and it wasn't all perfect. And at the end of the day, it's just preseason. That's what all of the haters are going to scream from the mountaintops. But I think he looked much better than a number 4 quarterback on the depth chart, and I think it's no surprise that the guy who looked like he might be the 2nd or 3rd at best quarterback in the draft class also looked like the 2nd or 3rd best quarterback in the draft class over the weekend. So it may just be preseason, but I think it just reaffirmed that Sanders has more talent than where his draft slot is, and he deserves a better shot than maybe what he's necessarily getting in the crowded quarterback room of the Browns right now. But if they're smart, he's a guy who can just energize their franchise, and he gives them way more upside than anything else that they have going.
Yeah, and a lot of people are focusing on this game showing that Sanders should be higher in the Browns depth chart. He should be having a better chance in this quarterback battle. But my biggest takeaway from this performance is what you were just talking about, that this guy had no business being a 5th-round pick. And look, I wasn't somebody that loved Shedeur Sanders. I think he is limited in a lot of ways. I was a much bigger fan of Cam Ward when people were discussing who is QB1. But he clearly is not a 5th-round pick. And that game showed me, like, oh, yeah, I think the NFL colluded against this kid.
It doesn't have to be Shedeur. To me, it could be Dylan Gabriel, but Gabriel is hurt. It doesn't make any sense to trot Joe Flacco out Week 1. It just doesn't. And if ownership needs to see a 7, an 8-win season, and by the way, I don't even know if this team is going to get that with Joe Flacco, to keep this group intact. This group, by the way, which did not necessarily want to go as all in for Deshaun Watson as it went, then sell the team, because that's ridiculous. There's no reason to handle it that way. See what you have with these young quarterbacks. If it doesn't work, figure it out next year. You'll be bad. You can figure it out. You'll have the draft capital to go figure it out. And by the way, they do, because they did a smart thing in the draft and traded out of the Travis Hunter spot so that the Jaguars could come up and get him. And they still got Mason Graham, who, at least based on his college tape, has a chance to be a really, really damn good football player. There's just no reason to go through this charade with Joe Flacco. There's just not. Don't do it. Don't fall into that trap, but they will. And that's why the Browns stay the Browns. And finally, from 3 shots back to 4 straight birdies to a 3-hole playoff, Justin Rose turned TPC Southwind into his personal comeback stage. At 45, the oldest winner on tour this year and the oldest in the FedEx Cup playoff since Vijay Singh. Rose proved his game still travels. I get nervous with the best of them. I feel nervous at times, Rose said, but I know when it matters, I've still got it. He proved it. He still does. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, we continue to take you around the NFL as Week 1 gets closer and closer. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on Sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.